Hi, friends. I'm Lauren.
And I'm Katie, and welcome to Okay, but Did You Know? A podcast where we talk about the TV and media that we love with a friend who's never seen it before.
Today, we're recapping and chatting about Once Upon a Time, episode 313, Witch Hunt. This episode aired on March 16th, 2014. It was written by Jane Espenson and was directed by Guy Ferland. And no, you're not hearing things incorrectly. If you've been listening to the podcast this long, I would assume, at some point you may have heard me say that I would do the entire episode that Rebecca Mader Zelena is introduced in my British accent, because the voice is kind of modeled after her. Sort of. I haven't
I've
held it
waited for this for...
I've been teasing this for a while. I mean, I know Katie enjoys the voice. So there's always that. But it's been a while since I've maintained this for this long. So we'll see how this goes. But for both of our safety and sanity, this bit is only funny if we both find it funny. So I'm now going to ask Katie for her safe word. If at any point in the episode she needs me to stop talking like this, she will say whatever word she's about to give me, and I will stop.
Pumpernickel.
There we go. So there we go. Safe word. Everyone is consensual to this bit.
I'm sorry. In my defense, we just had a slight conversation about this, and so my brain is completely somewhere else that is not Once Upon a Time.
Our brains are very firmly in the gutter right now. Which
Mine
will be even
stays there.
It will be even better when I get to Rebecca Mader's IMDb, quite frankly. I've given you a taste, but there's more.
Oh God. Okay.
Before we get into all of this lovely chaos for the next 45 minutes, you're welcome. You signed up for this, you clicked on the episode, you listened to us. Here is a synopsis for Witch Hunt. In the Enchanted Forest. As the group formulates a plan to take on the castle, Regina reveals that there are tunnels that run under the castle, and may run under the protection spell as well. If she can get under it, she can lower the shield and allow the others inside. After Zelena's flying monkey almost hurts Roland, Regina saves him, finally putting the pieces together of who is after them. When she sneaks back into her castle, Robin joins her, as it is clear that Zelena wants her dead, although neither knows why. Regina has another plan. After lowering the shield, she'll put herself under a sleeping curse that will only be broken when the heroes succeed and Henry can wake her up. But after her confrontation with Zelena, where it's revealed that the Wicked Witch is her half-sister and intends on taking Regina's every happiness, Regina now has a new purpose in life, and a superlative enemy to destroy. And in Storybrooke, Emma may be back in Storybrooke, but their problems are not solved. This time, crossing the town line ends in being taken away and turned into a flying monkey. As Emma and Regina try to recreate the memory potion so that they can all remember who cursed them, they also try to smoke out the real caster of the curse, to little success. Not only can they not bring back the townspeople's memories, or Henry's, they're no closer to discovering who is behind this all. Meanwhile, as Mary Margaret is watching Henry, she's approached by a woman she's never seen before, a midwife named Zelena, who offers to help her wade through the fears of her current pregnancy. But Zelena has other plans, and it's time to get to work with the Dark One locked in her basement. So Rumpel is not dead.
No. I mean, I called it, but I think they're really not going to get rid of him.
No, they're not. Well, because when you told me this, and I think you said he's not dead. I think I just didn't respond because where's the fun in that?
Exactly. I'm glad to see Red actually with lines this time.
This might be the only episode she appears in.
That's frustrating.
My apologies.
What is this show doing to me?
Lots of things.
Lots of things. I fucking love Regina, and I will protect her at all costs because this was just an emotional episode for me.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. Can't speak. She deserves all the awards.
She really does
for this episode. All of her work in I want to hug her.
I know. Me too.
But then seeing them all work together was really healing, and that was a really great experience. And then, of course, shit hits the fan and things get really interesting.
Oh, yes.
I really have to start off with the one line, though. And I think you know which one it is.
I think I'm staring at it as well. I think I also have it written down.
Almost harvest time, but you can't remember the planting. It's bad luck, mate.
Killian, now is not the time.
No, oh my God. And I really love the line, too. The bookworm's right. I'm like, we usually are.
Yeah, the bookworms usually are. And Regina, she really leans into calling her the bookworm this season specifically. Like, there's a couple
Mhm.
of places where she calls her that. It's interesting.
I'm okay with this.
Yeah, it's a good time.
We were cellmates. Banditry?
I love that interaction so much. That one's in an amateur ADR I did. That was a combination of just random lines of hers, and it's the yeah, right. We were cellmates. It's because she says it with such sincerity.
I'm also very angry at everyone except for Regina in this episode.
Because they automatically assume Regina had something to do with it.
No, because they didn't warn Regina that she'd see her son.
Oh yeah.
Maybe give her a heads up that she's gonna have to like process those emotions of seeing her son.
This is true. Well, I loved the line, why would I erase an entire year of my life? Maybe it was a bad year for you. Maybe this curse was your way of getting me to bring Henry back here. With no memory of me? If I wanted my son back, you'd think I put myself through this kind of torture? I cast curses to hurt other people, not myself.
I wrote down the same exact line because anger, lots of emotions.
I'm just going to say this. This episode was written by Jane Espenson.
God damn it.
So therefore, it has our key tenets of Mill's trauma and really funny jokes.
Very funny jokes.
And
like,
we get
you were going to marry someone?
You're like, the monster you're going to marry. You were going to marry someone? Did you just miss the part where I said monster?
Exactly. And then I got so annoyed, like, while they're in the town hall, and she starts yelling, and I'm like, there's a microphone right behind you, Swan. It's right behind you.
But that wouldn't be quite as dramatic. And to be fair, it was all a ruse anyway. She's not thinking that clearly.
Do they ever?
Not really, no.
Got excited to see Blaine again.
Yes,
not as pale
very
this time around for me.
Yes,
very briefly. And then that lovely moment when we find out they're working together, and they just have this moment. I'm like, there is 100% a fan fiction of this scene.
Oh yeah, there
100%.
A lot of them in this episode. Like, I get this episode does feel like Swan Queen fodder. It really does. Apparently, at a recent convention, so that, like, one of the ones that was within the last month, someone asked Lana about Swan Queen, and I saw this like from someone's edit, so I didn't hear her say this, but supposedly, at the beginning of the show, she got the sense that that's where they were going, and she did go to the showrunners and ask, "Are you doing this?" And they said no.
Oh.
So, like, she got that sense, because I say this all the time. They are the trope. This I would say is a good starting point for them becoming friends. I would say that, but I definitely see where the fodder of, like, with you, Regina, I always know. I don't need to. I always know when you're lying. That's definitely a thing of, like, they are true loves naturally, and I'm like, are they though?
It's just an interesting scene, and
I see
they
where it
have
comes
all
from.
this chemistry, and
They
I'm
do.
just like, we're just not going to run with that. It's so good.
But it's Regina and her enchanted chemistry set.
I know, that was fun. She had me wanting to cry so many times through this episode, though, because then we go into, this isn't an end, it's an eternal middle. This curse can be broken by the only true love in my life, and the only reason I would even want to wake my son. And I'm just like over here tearing up. And I'm like, okay, I have faith in this show again.
It's such a beautiful line.
It's so beautiful, and Lana delivers it just so fucking well. And I'm just over here crying, and I'm like, this is not, I didn't get a heads up on tears for this episode. But here I am.
I will always say this. I give you the heads up on when I cry, and those are generally different reasons than you do.
That's true.
The only time
I'm a mom. Maybe I had like those mom feelings in that moment.
The only time we really, like, the two of us, it was clear we were probably sobbing at the same time was during going home. But that will be interesting to see, I guess, when we get to 512, because there's a scene there that makes me cry every time.
Oh my! Well, I got some time.
You've got about a year for that. So
did love them using Leroy. I love Leroy.
I know to tell. If you want to get something out, you tell the town crier. Terrible news.
I love how I was all like, "What? Who did you get with, Henry?" And it's more like, "Cora, who did you get with?" Yes, do it, Cora.
I find it very interesting, that your inclination was that she was Henry's child and not Cora's.
I just didn't think Cora, because I mean, it's Cora, and the way she was just about Regina, I was like, could she make more than one?
Here's the thing: is we're going to see Cora when she gets pregnant with Zelena in this season.
My.
So we are going
who's daddy?
I'm not telling you, because also if I told you, it would make no sense. It's not Rumpelstiltskin, I can tell you that.
It better. Oh God, no! Please, can we not?
It's not.
Stop making people related to Rumpelstiltskin
for a multitude of reasons. For a very similar reason to the why I say he's not Regina's father. They make out on screen. She can't be his daughter. So, and you will unfortunately be subject to that. Zelena and Rumpel making out on screen.
That's creepy. He made out with her mom.
Is that 318? That's 318, I think.
But he made out with her mom.
He makes out with Regina in season 6 too.
I can't. No, can we stop kissing Rumpelstiltskin, please?
No one else is with the scales, at least.
Oh God!
I'm just saying that, but no,
it's bad enough when Belle does it.
No, I know. Again, nothing against Robert Carlyle. Nothing against him.
No, I love him. I think he's great. It was very interesting seeing him act so Rumpelstiltskin-like, but as
he's very, very much like very manic, very mad.
It was very interesting because usually you see him doing that in the makeup, but this time around you didn't. And it was very interesting.
Yeah.
But can we please stop kissing him? Like,
can the pretty women just kiss each other instead?
Yes. There's too many beautiful women in this show for everybody to keep kissing Robert Carlyle. Like,
that can't be the title, but it's funny.
I did love the Bring It Greenie. That was a good one.
Yes, Bring It Greenie. Well, Zelena, I believe, is the Arabic root of it means green. So the joke of it is that the Mills women are hot, queen, and green. Because Cora is hot, Regina is queen. Everyone's. It's just funny that way.
The show. I really went, I have faith in this show again, and then you say things like that.
I mean, to be fair, they did it on purpose.
And then, of course, my last favorite line. They're being turned into flying monkeys. Yes, he took on simian form with added bonus of wings. He gets the best lines. He's
the smart guy, is what I could say. Is he's repeating the obvious.
He gets the best freaking lines.
This like the whole, but even right before, I think it was either, I guess it must have been right after that, was the person who escaped our trap disappeared in a cloud of green smoke, and now there are flying monkeys in this town. I think we know exactly who cursed us. The Wicked Witch of the West. Seriously, she's real too. Says the daughter of Snow White and Prince Charming.
Like, he's so fed up with everybody, and it's so funny because he's like, "Why is everyone so surprised? Why are you guys so freaking surprised? Look who you are."
I know.
Like, he is us.
He is. He really is.
He's what we all want to say. Yes. Because oh my God, because I too would like to look at them and be like, "Oh, that sucks. You can't remember making your baby. That's sad."
So sad for you. All right, so some fun facts for Witch Hunt. So, I mean, Cradle Cap, I'm sure you know this because you're a mother. That's a real thing. That's not. Yes. I love that scene in general, but that's also known as infantile seborrheic dermatitis.
Harmless.
Yeah, it's harmless. It's a skin condition. It goes away. It really, like the line, it goes away. It doesn't hurt the baby.
Yeah,
but
I couldn't get rid of Eric's forever. Like, I just gave up.
But I love that because also midwifery and the fact that she's a witch, that works very well.
It does.
Because that is very common. Like the combination of those things. As we talk about, I mean, this is coming out in January. You will have heard this months prior in our Agatha All Along special, but midwifery and witches very, very much entwined historically.
But we may end up talking about it again.
We may, yes.
Did you see?
I did.
You did, okay.
I did. But
Agatha's coming back.
But that scene though, that's one of my favorite scenes, mainly because it's got two. I've done that one for Amateur 80 Guys because that one is two of my better voices, I would say.
Yeah.
Because like with Snow, starting it with, "My God, did you know there's something called cradle cap? Babies get it on their heads. It's a crusty, yellow, greasy, scaly skin rash. Seriously, this book uses all of those words." And Henry just doesn't care. And so like she just sends him away. And then, it goes away. Doesn't hurt the baby. It doesn't. Babies are stronger than you think. You're Snow White, aren't you? I'm Mary Margaret here, actually. This must be your first time in Storybrooke? I missed the last curse, so everything in this world is still a bit new. Don't worry, we'll get used to it. Who were you back in our land? Oh, no one you'd remember. Not everyone was famous like you. I don't know if I'd say famous. You were a princess. Some of us were just supporting players. Oh, it's okay. I loved who I was and what I did. I was a midwife. Really? Mm-hmm. My name is Zelena. I've seen a lot of new mothers. Don't worry. You'll learn quickly. Maybe you can give me some advice? I have been turning the corner on every page on which I have a question, and now I can't close the book. There are so many. It'd be an honor. Careful. Once I have the baby, I may not let you leave my side. May I? Wow. Helping Snow White with her baby. I can't think of anything that would make me happier. I can think of a few things that would make Zelena happier personally.
Yeah.
But that was always a fun one to do.
But like as I'm watching this though, all I can think is of Agatha along when she's like talking about eating babies.
Babies are delicious.
Babies are delicious. And I'm just like, Zelena, what you doing there?
She has plans. That's all I can
say.
Evil plans. Wicked plans, really. She does. That's all I can say about that right now. Although the line of that I did skip over was when Henry is playing Space Paranoids and he goes, "Yes, derezzed him." That is in fact a term from the Tron franchise that describes the death of a game character.
Yes.
I did not know that.
Oh, God,
but now I do.
Nerd.
I've never watched any of the Tron movies.
I have my father. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, it's not a franchise that was on in my house.
Oh God, the franchises that were on in my house. I remember watching the original Dune movie in my house.
That I haven't done. I did go to see the new ones.
I have not actually watched them. I think I'm traumatized.
That's fair.
I want to, but I'm a read the book before I watch the media person.
I'm very curious. I'm tempted, but like not tempted enough to spend money. That's very much a library situation.
Oh, the ebook, not the ebook, the audiobook just became available on my Libby. My husband wants to listen to it, and I own the paperback. So I'm like, I guess I'm reading Dune this month.
There you go. The baby book that Mary Margaret is reading is The New American Baby and Childcare Guide by Cecily Newbolt Mimimba, and is the most recommended source for parents ever. Over 15 million copies sold. It is, in fact, a fake book. That's not real.
I was about to say, never heard of that before.
No, that is very much, that's on the list of fake books that they just put into things.
Were they not allowed to use What to Expect When You're Expecting?
Probably.
Because that's the most used book.
Because the books that we've seen the actual titles of before are all books that are in the public domain. You can't use, they can't use a book that's currently copyrighted if they don't own the copyright to it.
Gotcha.
So, surprise, surprise, we have our Wicked Witch of the West, and you now know she's Regina's sister, which I spoiled last week, and I'm still mad at myself about that, but now you know. But you see what I mean, though? That scene could only build up to that.
Yeah.
There's really nowhere else. There's nowhere else for it to go.
Well, because they keep talking about the blood lock, and if the only person they go through a blood lock is someone with similar blood.
Yeah,
so.
as we've already established, blood magic is, as I've told you, in this case, blood magic sometimes involves blood, but mostly it's within the same bloodline. So that made sense. Zelena is our Wicked Witch of the West from the 1939 film, character of the same name, based on the 1900s children's novel by L. Frank Baum titled The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. So
which are there multiple books?
Yes, it's a whole series.
It's a series, right?
Yes, it's a whole series.
I've never read them.
I read the first one for a class in college.
Are they good?
I don't really remember it. It was one of the first books we read. It was one of the first books we read in that class because we were talking about the hero's journey and the monomyth theory of just how that whole thing is was very common. So it was more a case of it was so much like everything else I was reading at the time because I was comparing it to Alice in Wonderland and Peter Pan.
Okay.
So it's very similar, all very similar structures. So I don't remember a whole lot about it.
Which, ironically, we did just also... Well, before recording this, we read another children's book because The Hobbit's also considered...
Yes.
It's considered a children's book.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is. So, unsurprisingly, Rebecca Mader, Bex, she filmed most of her scenes on blue screens because she would disappear on green screens. I think I tried to find a video of her saying this, but it must be in a compilation somewhere. She was saying that to her, her then boyfriend, now husband, why is everyone else on the green stage and I'm on the blue stage? And he's like, because you would disappear. But she does do a lot of her own flying, that is her usually, because she likes doing that. So they'll just have her hanging from the ceiling between setups. Apparently,
I want to do that.
It'd be fun.
I want to fly. Please make me a witch. I want to. Well, I am a witch. You know what I mean.
Here's the thing: is it seems like the kind of thing that would be interesting and would be fun to do. But I've seen when my high school did musicals that had flight in it. And we could go and watch the flight call just to see how it works and everything. It looks very uncomfortable.
I've done more uncomfortable shit. It's okay.
There you go.
I'm used to being uncomfortable.
But before Bex was even cast or even talked about, she had met Lana well before. She knew Emily because she was on Lost. But she met Lana at a party in 2011 where they were screening both a pilot that she was on, a comedy, and the pilot for Once Upon a Time.
Oh.
And so they had met and like they watched it and after they watched the other pilot, she was like, "Oh, that one's better. That's a better TV show." So, and as it turned out, Once got picked up and the comedy that she was on wasn't. But for her, when they offered her the part, it wasn't an audition. She didn't audition for the part. They called her with the offer, and she was, she got the call from her agent as she was walking the dog, as one does, and because she'd worked on them on Lost before, so they knew her work. They knew what would work really well for her character, and she said yes without even being told what the role was. Like her.
Oh wow! She's like, yes, please.
Her agent was like, "I think you want to know what the role is." She's like, "No, I'm fine," because she was. I think it was at a time when she wasn't doing a lot of work, so she was just happy she was just happy to have a job, basically. But it was just. But if you do watch the video, that's linked in the show notes, I recommend watch with headphones at your own risk, because Bex does have a tendency to screech sometimes. Like she's like in her storytelling, she shows how excited she was by screaming, and Emily was right next to her, and she like makes like a joke about how she can't hear anything anymore. That happens a lot with the two of them. It's funny, but she's very loud. She's. I mean, I've met her on multiple occasions. She's a lovely woman, but a very big personality.
That's okay.
Yeah. So Rebecca Mader, as we've been talking about, she is a British actress. She was born in Cambridge, England. She started out as a model before she shifted to acting.
I could see that.
And she did a slew of soap opera guest stars. She was in The Devil Wears Prada.
Yes, she was.
She has the ever iconic line of, "It's so hard to tell. They're so different." She with the two belts in the cerulean scene. She was in the official premiere of Private Practice, so she wasn't in the backdoor pilot that Raphael Sabaj and David Anders were in. She was in the actual premiere. And then she later appeared in 22 episodes of the final 3 seasons of Lost. She was in Iron Man 3. She was. This is even funnier than the last thing I'm talking about. She's in Drop Dead Diva, which is a great show. It's on no streaming services. Like I think you might have to pay.
You can't find it.
You can't. I did order the DVD box set. It should arrive tomorrow. We'll see. It keeps getting delayed.
Check your local library.
We'll find out. But in that, I think season 3, I didn't check the actual episode, but she plays a character named Mistress Robin. She plays a dominatrix.
I've seen like some episodes of that show. I did not know she played that.
It's a great episode because she's playing a dominatrix who's suing a client who it turns out the client is more or less suing her while being in her service kind of thing.
It makes our Pumpernickel conversation so much funnier.
It really does. So it's fantastic. And all of this, the Mistress Robin thing will just never not be funny. But all of this was before she appeared in 67 episodes of Once Upon a Time entirely. So we'll see her through the end of this season. She'll come back in the later 67 episodes. So she's in the most of this 3B arc. She comes back towards the end of season 4, and then she's main cast seasons 5 and 6, and she's in most of season 7.
Wow.
So she's one of those. Okay. She's one. I told you that what happens with season 7, they write out a lot of people, and she's one of them. But she's one of them that they realized very quickly that they made a mistake because she built a very big fan base. So when
Peter Pan sucked, and we all went, "Oh, it's good."
She built a very big fan base. All of the evil regals, like it was a lot of very feral queer women.
Yeah, checks out.
So makes sense. So when she wasn't brought back, a lot of viewers left, and she was also very easy to kind of slot back in season 7, more so than the others. But she was one that they realized they made a mistake. But this is my favorite of her credits because it is ridiculous. She is in one episode of 30 Rock. She has one line, and she is credited as Super Hot Lady. And it's hilarious. I'm going to read it for you now. This specific snippet is 18+. Listen to discretion is advised. Because all she does is she comes on screen, she talks to Alec Baldwin, and then something happens and he has to walk away. But she walks up to him in the middle of a park somewhere in New York City, Excuse me, I don't mean to bother you, but I'm a nymphomaniac virgin widow, and I just completed my year of mourning, and I've got a hotel room and a latex allergy, and well, I was just wondering, what were you doing for the next 12 to 14 hours?
I've never watched 30 Rock before, but I think it's time to start.
That's unfortunately one of the last episodes of the entire show. You have to watch the entire thing.
Oh, I don't care. That's fine.
Still, that's
fine.
But yeah, that's Rebecca Mader's singular cameo in 30 Rock, and it's hilarious, quite frankly.
That is goddamn.
Because there's no other way to describe her other than super hot lady. Like, that's the best way for her to ever be credited, in my opinion, quite frankly.
That is hilarious.
I love it.
I need to watch 30 Rock.
I love it. But can you tell I like Zelena? I call her...
No, not at all.
Not at all. And I mean, does it have to do with Bex? Partially, probably. But, like, she's also a villain who...
Makes sense.
She makes sense. She doesn't care really what anyone thinks of her. I mean, she does, but, like, she's gonna do whatever she wants to do. She cares about certain people's opinions. Because you can tell she's a little upset when Regina says, about Rumpel and Cora, well, it's a shame they aren't here to see how you turned out, because they're both dead.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she's clearly, but you can see the cogs turning, and she's formulating things. She's unapologetic. She thinks she's delightful, because why wouldn't anyone else want to do all the things she's doing? Because she thinks she deserves her happiness. And Regina's in the way of that, and we'll find out eventually what that is. But,
I mean, pesky little sisters,
Exactly. It's a sibling. That's the thing, it's a sibling rivalry thing. And you did ask me, you said, like, are we always going to have these familial dynamics? And I'm like, because these are very outlandish characters and very outlandish situations, for a while, yeah, because that's a very easy way to help viewers connect to the characters easier.
I mean, okay.
Like, people to an extent understand strained sibling dynamics. That's what this is.
I see that. I don't feel like I need them to be family members to be invested, but
I mean, neither do I, but
have no control over how they wrote the show. It's, it's over.
Exactly.
And so I'm just going to roll with it. It's just a personal belief. I don't think they got to be related.
Next season, there'll be less, like, biological wreath happening.
Oh, joy.
It'll be like characters that our characters dealt with in their pasts. But, like,
I can deal with.
Not actually related to. So that's all of next season for the most part.
Because we really, like, all of season 3 is like, all right, who else is family?
That's mostly season 3, yeah.
Because that was all season 2 as well. It's like, everyone's related.
Yes. Well, because the season 2 was about showing the story, because they'd been planning that from the beginning, so there's that.
Yes. I guess I kind of wish they hadn't continued that, like, given us a break. We really didn't get a break from, because we had Cora, we had Bellfire, we had everybody's related.
Yep.
And then they go straight into, like, well, here's Rumpelstiltskin's dad. Now we're into, well, here's Regina's sister. And I'm like, can we have a break from family?
We will get a break. Zelena is the last blood-related family member that we see for a little while.
Because if I find out someone's related to Cruella, I'm just gonna
Cruella's not. Cruella is not blood-related to anyone that I'm aware of.
Thank goodness.
She's from an entirely different realm of story. We're going to see how that works.
I'll figure that out one day.
Yes, exactly.
It's so confusing. Because Oz itself, I'm already like, we already had Underland.
Yes, Wonderland.
Because that's what it actually is.
Also, I know, but in that case, it's Wonderland.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
And then we go into this of like, okay, well, now we have Oz. I'm like, so where'd the portal come from?
Honestly, when
this would work,
when we see Cruella's realm of story, the portal, like, it's not explained, but the assumption I made, I think, is correct, and I think it makes sense. So,
like you said, with portals, they're there when we need them.
They're hard to come by unless the plot dictates otherwise. So, I loved Red is in this episode very briefly, and I love in a video from a convention years ago, it was Megan and Lana, and I think Colin, but Megan was saying that she never really worked with Lana when she was in the Evil Queen getup, but she's clearly she's in this scene, like in that scene at the very beginning. But with that outfit from this episode, mostly there's a drop down in our script for you to look at, Entertainment Weekly photo about Lana in this week's Enchanted Forest costume, and the caption. So it's. I don't know exactly what screenshot. I don't know why she's gasping. It might have to do with the flying monkey.
Okay,
However,
I got to full screen this.
The caption is, Disney's biggest assets since Jessica Rabbit. This was in Entertainment Weekly in 2014.
I have this full screen right now.
Of course you do.
Don't judge me.
Hey, I found this on my Tumblr, so
don't kink shame me.
I would never.
I mean, the leather pants really did it for me too. Just saying.
No, that's true. It's a good outfit.
I'm okay.
Yes, it's fine. We are fine.
Everything's fine.
Everything's fine. It's okay. It's
Regina. And this is where the it's a sapphic podcast really comes in.
It very much does. We are very, very sapphic, very unapologetic, very chaos oriented. That is us. I mean, to be fair, would I be doing this entire episode like this if we weren't chaos oriented?
I don't know how to live any other way.
Honestly, right? It's more fun this way. So, I mean, I remember that they still question what the beast was, even though she turned it into a toy monkey.
Yeah, but they were already attacked by one.
Exactly. So I'm still why are we why are we still surprised, or we're still trying to figure out that it's of simian form? I don't know, but it shows villains have soft spots for children, Regina especially, but clearly she's not going to let the kid. But I loved him behind them waddling with his little cloak, because he's so cute. Because he's the character, he's probably 3 or 4, so the actor had to be 4 or 5 basically, and he's just the sweetest little boy. We don't see a whole lot of him because he's a very small child, but still.
I love that they're pushing for this, of course, romance I already know about.
Yes, Outlaw Queen.
Between Regina and him. And I'm just yep, definitely give Regina a single dad. That is the way to go. I love it.
It does make sense because they bond over their love of children. And I say this a lot, Outlaw Queen doesn't get as much time to develop as the other ships. And they are a little bit together because the writers say so. We had from the very beginning of this season that he is her true love because of the pixie dust. I get why they work beyond just what I say of Sean and Lana have a lot of chemistry together, because they do.
I love how carefully you're reading your notes right now.
Because I'm trying to make sure that I'm saying this correctly, because I wrote it down very, very academically and very... I'm trying to make sense while sounding like a nutcase. So... Robin and Regina, they call each other out on their bullshit. Robin pushes Regina to open up because he's a safe space for her. He's trying to be, at least. And he is, in fact, a man written by a woman. Many of their episodes with their biggest romantic moments, or their funnier moments, their moments together, ironically, are mostly written by women.
I mean, men written by women are just better.
They really are.
Saying.
They very much are. So I just wanted to make sure I said that correctly. But we'll see a lot of Outlaw Queen. They're very much a rivals to lovers coded situation, not quite enemies to lovers, because she takes a dislike to him for no reason. And it's Regina, and she doesn't want to open herself up. She wants to stay guarded. She wants to focus on just Henry. He's the only love in her life, and I get it. But here is a man who smells like forest who wants to help you. So let him help you.
Nice accent.
He's got a very nice accent. He does. So, but she shows no interest in him, so they simply just get on each other's nerves, basically. He's clearly taken with her, I would say. He clearly has something there. And she has no interest in him at all.
Have you seen the outfit?
I mean, we're all weak. We get it.
Yes.
We would too. So, for the rest of, we'll see the flashbacks of the missing year. We'll see them just kind of constantly get on each other's nerves, just in a way of, just kiss it out already. Because at one point, someone said to me, they saw a video of Regina and someone, but they didn't know who it was. And they said they had a bow and arrow with them. And I'm like, okay, that can be one of 2 people. And then they said something else. And then I just said the line, the lines from the scene word for word, how'd you get that from 2 descriptors? I'm once you were down this point, there was only so many it could be.
Yeah.
It was Robin and Regina. It's they just get on each other's nerves. We'll see them re-meet in Storybrooke because they don't remember that they met. They've only met in that missing year. So, when they re-meet each other in Storybrooke, that's for the first time. So
I'm interested in how they're going to do this. I am. I think this will be fun.
I think it's a good ship. I think it works, and I really think it works. Outside of what I say, they do kind of smush them together, and they're not the main romance. I would say the main romance going forward is going to be Captain Swan. But
what about Neil?
Neil is there for a time. That's all I can say.
I like the way you say that. He's
there for a time. That's all I can say.
Ooh.
Because he is. Like, that's really interesting. I'm dropping things. I'm being far more careful than I was last week.
I'm still picking up on it, though.
No, I know. To be fair,
no complaints.
No, none whatsoever. But like I always say, like I think I've told you a lot about Captain Swan, and like that they get together eventually.
Yeah.
Like I also think
for that to happen, Neil's got
to go. So
yeah,
he'll have we'll see what happened to him eventually.
Oh no, I'm so sad.
Eventually, that's all I can say about him, because he's not in this episode.
I mean, kind of in the background with the sword, and that's about it.
Yeah, that was basically it. Well, because there was like it's the thing of what happened to Neil is like this like extra B plot mystery for a little while.
Oh,
so it's just kind of always there. What could have happened? Did he get turned into a flying monkey? Did he not come back with them?
You can stay in the B plot. It's okay.
It's B plot. It's A plot. It's got to be Quiet Minds. Yeah, it's got to be 3:15. So in 3 weeks, give or take. But we don't, as we established, we don't really care what happens to Neil. Personally,
I want Henry to have his 2 mommies. That's all.
He will eventually have his 2 mommies, just not romantically. For them.
I'll take what I can get.
I know. But I say this season, or this episode especially, with Regina and the Enchanted chemistry set, is they're trying to recreate like the memory potion or the 2 of them on the stakeout, which was always a fun scene for me to watch, because it's like Regina just doesn't care, and she's like, "This is really what you do for a living?"
She's like, "Why? Why is this? Why are we doing this?"
Like, you don't get bored? Like, to be fair, that's a fair question, but like they're bonding over Henry. Which is not
also another beginning of plenty of fan fiction, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely. But like, it's not something that they've had the time to do before. So it's just a lot of fun to watch as a viewer. Because like, this really is, I would like, people always say like, oh, the friendship in this. I'm like, were they friends? But like, the more I watch it very closely, the more I'm like, yeah, I can see how they're friends. But Regina, first, as Gina, yes, choke him later in the bedroom. As she's making up the sleeping.
This is turning into a very kinky episode.
It really, well, it started with the accent and it just kept going.
Like, I didn't expect this to be this kinky today. But here we are.
Do we need to put a content warning in this episode?
We might need to.
Okay, we'll figure that out at the end and I'll put it at the beginning. It's fine.
Oops.
So, but with this episode, Jane Espenson, again, she writes Regina Mills trauma specifically, because she also wrote 318, which is trauma from every Mills woman, which is always a good time. But it's Regina with a self-destructive streak of she wants to put this curse on herself instead of dealing with her issues. Because we'll see this a lot, and that'll come up again, another Jane Espenson episode at the end of season 4 with more self-destructiveness of Regina, of hurting herself before other people can hurt her. But it goes into Zelena's reveal. And like, we are going to get to see again another reveal of this episode. It feels repetitive just because there are some things that have to happen twice.
Yes.
So like, we'll see another reveal of Zelena revealing herself to her sister, but you weren't even going to say hello first. That's not exactly the welcome I was expecting. What does a witch have to do to get your attention? What's the matter? Has life got you down? None of your business. You really don't know who I am, do you? I know exactly who you are. The Wicked Witch. Is that all? I'm not that interested. Please, allow me to introduce myself. You can call me Zelena. That's my dress. I had to take it in a little bit at the hips, but looks better on me, don't you think? I think you never should have left ours. You can have your castle back if you want it that badly. I was just trying it on for size. Besides, I've already seen everything worth seeing. Your closet, your gardens, your crypt. Yes, how did you break the bloodlock? I didn't. The door was open. No one's that powerful. Cora really never told you. Told me what? The truth about us, Regina? What are you talking about? How do you know my mother? The same way you do. I'm your sister. Actually, half-sister, but details. That's not possible. You're green. And you're rude. Cora had me first, before she wormed her way into the dregs of royalty. You know I'm telling the truth. How else could I have broken the door to the crypt? Our mother gave me up and sent me away, but you she kept. She gave everything she wanted. If what you're saying is true, then you were lucky to escape her. Enough with the martyr complex, Regina. Try growing up without a mother. try living in Oz. I just love it's the aspect of enough with the martyr complex, Regina. Allow me to martyr myself.
Right?
That's Zelena to a T, basically.
Can we get Regina an actual therapist?
She really needs one.
She needs one.
She really does. And she's not going to get one.
She can get a remote one. Just
yeah, she's not going to get one, unfortunately. Her therapy is going to be, like you said, I just needed to find something to live for. Something I haven't had in a very long time. Someone to destroy. And what I added on to that was, you can take the queen out of the evil, but you can't take the evil out of the queen. No, you can't.
Like, that smile at the end.
She's so demonic, and she's just so, and again, it's Lana just clearly like eating that up, which just makes it even better. So it's a great time. It's a lot of fun. So Katie, what did you rate this episode?
So I gave plot and personal 10
mm-hmm.
and character 9. So it does get a 29.
Okay.
Great episode.
Mm-hmm.
I really, really enjoyed it, but it feels like something's missing for it to be a 30.
Okay, that's fair. Like we always say, that the 20. That's always what it is with the 29s. Is like, I feel like you and I most often when it's a 29, the 9 is on personal. There's just something missing that we can't quantify.
This one's on character. There's just something missing character-wise.
Gotcha.
That I'm like, something's missing, and I can't. I don't know.
It could be their memories. Their memories, perhaps.
I mean, there's something about it that's just getting to me, and I'm just like, we're so close. We're so close, but it needs a little bit more.
Yeah, no, I understand, because like, especially when it comes to, I feel like, again, still with how they're treating Regina, like those who are trusting her with Emma and Charmings and everything, like you said before, like they should have warned her that Henry was going to be there. Like they really should have just. So that doesn't happen. She's just like, she's surprised that he sees right through her, and that's so heartbreaking to watch as she does that. And then even still later on, I would say, when it comes to when she does decide to like meet him, like the kid has very good manners. I would say the handshake was more polite than he needed to be, but I'm also with him that it's odd that the mayor wanted to meet him.
Like, and I think that's really is what it comes down to, this, because also the townspeople, character wise. Because this isn't plot, this isn't personal, it's the characters. Even after everything Regina has done, and they all remember her casting the spell and taking them back, and trying to take them home, and taking them home, they're still like, we can't trust her. What more does this woman have to do to prove she's not trying to destroy you guys anymore?
For the most part, you will see exactly what it is she has to do this season.
But you get what I'm saying. Like,
no, I do, absolutely.
All this work she's done.
No, I'm completely with you.
And it's still not enough for these people. So that's where it is for character. I'm like, Regina I want to hug her.
I know. She deserves all the hugs. And like the memory potion, she tried her best. But like, and like, I get the whole like recreating it from a bit of it, because I'm sure that's a thing you can do in chemistry. I can ask my friend who's a green chemist. But so I gave this a 30. I don't think that should really be a surprise to anybody. This was 10s across the board. I do understand exactly what you're talking about. And the thing with, especially with the way, and this thing is, Henry does interact with Regina before he gets his memories back. But, and it's in a case of like, I think it's more a thing of, he's at that point just expects his mother's going to pawn him off on weird babysitters.
Yeah.
Because he spends time with the Charmings. He's going to spend time with Regina. He's going to spend time with Hook. Like, it's the kind of thing of like, eventually he just accepts that his mother's going to pawn him off on some random person that she claims to know that he's never met before. So it's just, he just adapts in a way that I think most kids wouldn't. Maybe that's an inkling in the back of his mind that something about this feels familiar.
Yeah.
I think that might, like, not that it's like his memory is really pushing through, but it's just an inkling that something, that he can trust these people.
Yeah.
I think that's the sense that we get, because Regina, I mean, she tries to, get as close to him as she can until the memory potion, and they can until they can get everyone's memories back. However, they manage to do that. But it's that dynamic especially is hard to watch. But there'll be a scene. I think I want to say it's in 319. I want to say that's just a funny interaction, because he doesn't have his memories back. It's even funnier.
Oh God, it takes that long?
He doesn't get his memory back until everyone does. Basically, until everyone does.
That's so depressing.
It's hard for, but
poor
honestly,
Regina.
Poor Regina. But that's kudos to Jared for the way that he acts it the entire time.
He's doing a great job.
He really is, because he gets to just play a regular kid for once. He's not thinking about, I mean, he's enjoying his video games. He, clearly, as we've established, he likes to read. He's still very much the same kid. He just has different memories. But yeah, him getting his memories back is part of the whole getting everyone's memories back.
Oh, I'm going to cry.
So it's going to be, I like the way that this curse, when the reveal of this curse, when that happens, I like the reveal of who cast it, why, and how it can break, because it goes into my theory about the dark curse entirely, which I'll get into probably when this one breaks. So like, there's a whole shtick about it, but it's a good time, and I hopefully so far you're enjoying this arc a hell of a lot more than you were 3A.
I mean, this is a 29, so I quite literally wrote that this is giving, like, the last episode was good and everything, but this episode specifically is like giving me faith in this show again.
Yeah.
After trudging through that last arc.
It's a return to form, really. And yes, we're not, I think, I'm trying to think of our first actual flashback, like, not the missing year. I want to say we don't get one until 316, but like, still, but that's because they're using the flashbacks to move the plot forward, basically. So we're gonna have this I would say this arc specifically doesn't have a whole lot of character filler, although next week I guess could be considered character filler. But this arc, they use the flashbacks more about the missing year than our heroes' backstories, because our heroes' backstories aren't as relevant. Versus the last arc, where I would say they use the backstories and the flashbacks to give us more context for our characters that I don't think are really needed. I think if we'd gotten more plot, like we kind of said, we said towards the end of the arc, we needed more potatoes, less meat.
Yeah, those all meat, no potatoes.
We're missing that. So I think they strike a better balance. And again, I think in season 4 they do this A and B arc setup even better. So they just needed time to find their footing, unfortunately, and 3A just fell short.
But we're done with it.
And Peter Pan does not come back until season 5.
Like, if I were to rewatch this or just start rewatching for fun, because I know where to stop, I would probably skip 3A.
I do very frequently. Unless I do statistics, I don't watch it.
Like, I don't want to go back and watch that again. I wouldn't mind starting again just to, like, see the things I didn't notice before. But specifically 3A, I would probably skip.
I'm with you there.
It's okay if you enjoy 3A. We just don't.
Yes, exactly. It's okay if you dislike the things that we like and vice versa. So unfortunately, if you don't like Zelena, I'm sure this episode was a delight for you to listen to.
I like her.
She's pretty. She is. Like, that's all I can say. She's a very, very pretty woman, and she's evil. I call her a chaos monkey on purpose. That's what she is. She's got some of the best lines, mostly written by Jen Espenson. And she's just a lot of fun to watch. Like, she's not a good person, much like Agatha. She's not a good person. I would not say that. She has redeemable qualities, but that doesn't make her any less entertaining. Nor does my liking her make me not a nice person.
Thank you all for listening. Join us next time when we discuss Bob's Burgers, Season 6, Episode 17, The Horse Riderer, and Episode 18, Secret Admiraler. Don't forget to like, rate, and follow the podcast wherever you listen so you can be notified every time we publish a new episode. Follow us at OBDYK_pod on Instagram and TikTok. And if you'd like to join our Patreon, you can find the link for more details in our show notes.
This has been an episode of Okay, But Did You Know? A TV and media podcast. It was hosted by Lauren and Katie and edited by Lauren.